shut this thing down?
All right, we are live right now. I'm so excited that we have my girl. We actually went to middle school together, Tanesha Davis, on the line with us. But for now, let me introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dana Watson, but my clients call me Coach Dana W. I am a speaker, a coach, author, and right now, today, we're talking about my newest anthology book, Life After Divorce, Turning Pain into Power. And I am excited to be able to just introduce you all to some of our contributing authors of this book. And as I stated, we have Tanesha Davis, who is here with us on today. Tanesha was privileged to write not one, but two chapters in the Life After Divorce book. I'm going to allow Tanisha to just be able to introduce herself, tell the audience who you are, and then we're getting into this conversation. It's not questions. I don't want you to look at this as this formal interview. As you know me, I would bring the goofiness out of anything. Okay, so because we're just gonna have a nice talk on today. All right, introduce yourself.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Tanesha Davis. I'm currently living in Clarksville, Tennessee, but I am from the Hampton Roads area of Virginia. Um, I graduated in 2000 from Lake Taylor. I'm currently in my senior year of college, working on my bachelor's degree in social and behavioral science with a minor in family studies. I love the idea of family support work, counseling, working with single parents, first time parents, parent education, mental health awareness, behavioral health, as well as family support work. I have three mildly special needs children of my own. Therapy is very important to me. Behavioral health, mental health is very, very, very important to me. And that's something that's often neglected with ourselves, our family, and in our community. Um, I was excited to take part in Life After Divorce. At first, I was nervous. I was fearful. I felt like, how many more stories do they need? How many more? Tyler Perry done told my story multiple times, multiple ways. So I'm like, they done seen that, heard that, and we moving on. But I realized that this was a part of moving on. It was a part of letting go. It was a part of releasing fear, showing growth, showing confidence, and these stories and these words could help someone else. I didn't have anyone to talk to, so I kind of buried things. And creative expression has always been a love of mine. Composition, I've always loved it. So it took me a little bit to think about it, and but I'm glad I did have this opportunity from Dana, and I finally jumped on board. So here we are. Book sales are still going on, and the book release is coming up this weekend.
Yes, what she said. The book release is this Saturday, February the 4th, 11 o'clock a.m. at the book club on High Street, Portsmouth, Virginia. So we are hoping that you all join us because it's going to be so exciting, you all. Make sure you're there. All of our other contributing writers will be in the house. It's eight of us total. I believe out of the eight of us, it's going to be about six who are able to attend. We have individuals here who are local, and then we have individuals who are here, who are going to be here on Saturday from out of town. So just make sure you're there. And so let's get into this quick interview. Not going to keep you all long. We're not going to be here long. So my first question for you on today, Tanesha, tell us, how long were you married?
We were together 12 years. Um, a long 12 years. Um, we have two children together, age 14 and 5. So a lot of different stages in ourselves and age and development as well. But we were together 12 years.
Okay, 12 years. That's a long time.
Yeah,
A
it
really long.
is.
So when was it in the marriage that you began to feel like, "Ugh, this is not for me"?
It was I say the last 2 years. It was about We divorced 2018, so about 2016, I knew something was different, but I was taking my feelings out of it and just trying to adjust to him. He had joined the military um, in 2014. They'd be gone and out and about with their training and everything, and we didn't make it here to follow him until 2016. So I was like, he has to get readjusted to us. He has a new job. That's stressful. He has people he got to report to, not trying to make his day even more stressful. So a lot of things that I noticed that was different in my partner, I was just like, something ain't right. Well, maybe it's work. Well, he had a long day. Oh, an deployment. Oh, they've been in the field for 2 weeks. Let me let him relax. And just simple questions like, what do you want for dinner?
Mhm.
Just getting the worst, the most cruel responses. I'm like, this ain't the same person. This ain't, but then again, I'm just trying to be resilient and not have my emotions in it. Think about his and like, well, but after that, everything just started just getting worse. They'd be like, pray about it, pray about it. And I looked at it as a challenge to work through, trying to
Mhm.
keep the faith, trying to pray, trying to remain humble but not nag as well. But when things were just getting worse, it just escalated, um, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, and neglect. And then when things started getting physical, I was like, oh no,
Mhm.
no. And it was starting to happen on both ends. The things that he was doing and saying, even more so the things he was not doing, that was pulling me out of character. And that's when I was like, maybe we just grew apart. This isn't working.
Right. Right. So I hear you saying you were kind of pulled out of character, and I know one of your chapters is your true identity, and I'll let you correct the title for me. But you talk about
Mhm.
being able to find yourself again and knowing who your identity is. Is that what you're talking about when you're talking about being pulled out of character?
Definitely, because we get so wrapped up in so many different things and we forget who we are. And even when we don't forget who we are, we neglect who we are. And we can think about that in cases at work. We would accept certain things at work or deal with certain things at work that normally we wouldn't deal with outside of work. In relationships, we just get so wrapped up in other people. As parents, we get wrapped up in the kids. And yes, responsibility should be a priority, but
Mhm.
we also have to keep mind of ourselves, our needs, like the things that we're taking out and pouring into others, we have to pour back into ourselves as well. We have to keep healthy boundaries for our sanity, for our peace, for our health, mind, body, and spirit. So it was definitely a lot with that. I got consumed and wrapped up with excited about being a wife, excited about this new chapter we were going into, and I'm thinking of ways how to fix things, how to fix things, how to fix things. While I'm thinking of how to fix things, I was changing myself into something that I wasn't. I was also looking for him to
Mhm.
accept that change with something different. So in a way, I was trying to change him as well, trying to keep focusing so hard on what I wanted to keep when someone didn't want to be kept. So I
Mhm.
did have that as one of my focuses because we have to take a step back a lot of times and reflect and look at the bigger picture. Is it not even just is it worth it, but is it keeping us? Is it making us happy? Is it making them happy? Is this going to be a good foundation? Is this
Right.
something that we just trying to band-aid and piece together and hope it work? Because they will always end up falling apart. So
Right. So it seems like you two were like in a power struggle of who can change who, to meet each other's needs or to up each other. And it seems like his was probably a little bit stronger than yours. And you
it was
constantly, hmm go ahead.
it was sad because it was me fighting for two people. I was fighting alone. It wasn't even a bumping heads thing. I
Hmm.
was fighting with a wall, man. He was tough. I was fighting with a wall, but I feel like he just outgrew me. We got together in our 20s, 30s, and a lot of things we didn't like we loved in our 20s, we didn't like in our 30s. And that's how I
Right.
gave myself peace about it. I was like, I know it wasn't me. I may
Mhm.
have contributed some things just like he contributed some things, but I was trying, and it was just I was just fighting alone for two people, and that gets tiring. That is, and so then anger starts to get in there. You feel like you're doing something for nothing, or why don't you recognize? Why don't you validating? Why aren't you acknowledging? So I that's what was pulling me out of character because I'm not even an angry. Anyone who knows I'm not even an angry person. I
Mhm.
cuss and I be like my bad, but I was getting pulled out of character, and I was just fighting for trying to keep something I didn't want to be kept. But in the end, I did. I really believe, and I know I did both of us a favor
Right.
because the path that both of us are on is so different than what we was on before.
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah. So I know me
We'll talk
leaving.
about that path, because we definitely want to know where you are right now compared to where you were in the marriage, during the marriage, prior to the marriage. But one of the things you said was that you were looking forward to marriage. What was your idea of what marriage was supposed to look like?
I think of it as bonds and relationship as like a building, right? You have this layout, this plan, you're dating, you're talking, and then you have this platform, this foundation that you build, and you just go and grow and go up from there, just building. So that's always been my idea was to let's be better than the year before, or how can we upgrade ourselves? How can we up ourselves to a better position? Like, okay, well, we felt like this last year. Look at us, look how we grown. What are we gonna do next? So I am and this will be another conversation, but I would just say that I am respectful to my partner.
Mhm.
I give my partner a lot of respect, especially when it's more so when it's given back. I
Right.
am when someone shows me they're worth my trust and
Mhm.
worth my love, then there's nothing wrong with following that. But I look for partnerships, us meeting each other halfway. And when I'm not my 100%, I mean, I would say when I'm 50%, but we don't want much of 50% of anything. It should be 100 and 100. Everybody should be giving their all. But sometimes I may be at like a 70 and he may be at a 30. It is my job to uplift him to help keep him going for us.
Mhm.
And when I'm down, it's his job to help lift me up to keep us going for us. So as we grew into a family, a blended family now,
Mhm.
as we go into a family, that's been one of our main priorities. Like I have a partner, I have somebody who's willing to work with me in my good and my bad times, someone that's so patient. I have someone who's a teacher, someone who doesn't mind listening. I'm
Okay.
still working on my listening skills. I'm still working on it. But there are teachable moments that we can conversate about. So like having a partner is really like it's like a business and we just trying to build up from there. So it's definitely a lot of fun. I don't regret my past because I never would have learned these lessons. I never would have learned my self worth. I never would have learned about self respect and boundaries and self love and all of that had I not gone through this. Because I was just all about making sure everybody else was okay, pouring into this and making sure they're good. If they're upset, I want to fix it. If they're sad, I want to fix it.
Yeah.
But then I was left to fix myself. Like,
Mm.
dang, Tanisha, now, I'm sitting here confused.
I definitely understand. So you're saying life after divorce, you have found someone. Is that what you're telling us out here?
I did. It was scary. I ain't gonna, it was scary. Now we not sitting here trying to advertise this book like life after divorce is awesome. It's beautiful. But
Right.
it truly is what you make it. Like I stayed in fear for a I stayed in fear and resentment for a while.
Right.
I really did. I didn't feel like I felt like I mean I was a married single parent. That's what it I felt like I had a roommate. So the kids relationship with the kids was very important to me. Bonding with the kids was very important to me, and I was forcing that on him. He was doing some things, but cutting time short to go on dates or have his private time or lie to get out of his weekends with the kids. I was angry about that, and
Right.
but it definitely was scary at first. It's an adjustment, but it's also a mindset. Definitely a mindset and a shift of perspective that has to happen through
Yeah.
prayer, through therapy, and just even sitting outside sometimes listening to the wind blow.
Mhm.
Any little bit of sound mind that you can get to just try to heal yourself, work on yourself, and grow. That's definitely what it takes. So it was scary, but yes, my partner, he's amazing. We're going on 5 years.
Oh, wow.
A blended family. It's 4 kids total. Um, he wants more. I'm like, wait, daycare fees, but it's a beautiful thing, and it's not that
He's probably sitting next to you right now. Cause I'm
he
I'm catching this glimpse over
oh yeah, he is.
doing the eye right now, doing the
I'm trying to stay
ear.
professional, but it's kind of hard. You just see the simple things like just walking in a room and you're like, thank God for you.
Look, I'm looking
It's
at your
a
face,
beautiful
and all I
thing.
see is, oh, that's my boo right there. Like you might as well just go ahead. That's my boo right there. Like
Oh,
I love it. Tell me
yeah.
and let others know because I'm constantly being asked, how do you even want to try again after going through what you went through in your marriage?
Oh,
And
oh.
of course, people have different levels of pain, different levels of betrayal in their marriages. But when you're dealing with whether it's infidelity, whether it's control, abuse, it's like, how do you even want to get into another relationship after everything you've experienced in the one you were in with the marriage? Like, and I heard you say
Ooh.
it's a mindset thing. Yes, it's you have to change your perception. What was it that you knew in your heart you were ready to try again at finding love?
I did not want to. I did not plan on it.
Okay.
This was my third serious relationship, fifth boyfriend ever. So my track record is pretty small with experience, but every serious relationship I had, it was like 5 years, 5 years, 12 years, 5 years again.
A long term
So it
relationship.
was always long term, but I was done. I was like, and he'll tell you. He'll tell the story. It's so funny, but I was done. I was like, I had plans of going in the military, um, 3 different times, but I guess that wasn't meant to be. I was like, I'm gonna be a single parent the rest of my life. I'm gonna focus on my kids, focus on being a better mom. I'm
Right.
gonna go to finish school because I put school off. Um, I was going to school before I made the military move, and I put school off. I put my health off. I had gained weight, stress eating and stuff, trying to get my health together. I um I was gonna go in the reserves. I was like, I'm going to do everything that I supposed to had done, but put aside, and I'm gonna be single the rest of my life. I'm good with that. I'm gonna be in the military. I'm good with that. I'm
Like,
okay. I
that-
tried. I did it. Now I'm focused on the kids.
done.
Yeah, I was, and it wasn't even like it was fear, but it was also me checking for myself. I was like, this day and time, I didn't want to start over. All the foolishness that the stories I be hearing and stuff I be seeing, I did not even want to put attention to that. I was like, it's something better I could be doing for my family, for myself, and that's what I did. But I just kept running into this guy. Just kept running into him. And I'll always be like, oh, it wasn't meant to be. Guess it wasn't meant to be. Guess it wasn't meant to be. But I just kept running into this person. And the
Where
first
you
time
running
I
into
met
him at? Like, give me some ideas. Like, where were y'all running into each other at?
the first time I met him, I ran into him at the gym. I
Okay.
was one of them things trying to fix myself for the was the not because I'm not claiming my husband, but the was been for the ex, trying to fix myself in the gym. And he was working part-time there, and he was talking about sports and something else. I don't really know what he was talking about, but I was just looking in my mouth like, why is he talking to me? Ain't you supposed to be working? Yeah, I'm trying to focus, but I'm trying to be polite. And he's like, why are you here? And I think he knew something was wrong because he just kept talking. And I was just like, well, I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. He's like, why? Ain't nothing wrong with you and nothing wrong. I'm like, yeah, well, my husband don't think so. He calls me fat all the time, always making fat jokes and always this, always that. He's like, ain't nothing wrong with you, and this and that, and this what we like, and this what we like, and oh, I'm sorry, I'm married, but I'm just saying, ain't nothing wrong with you, this and that, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's talking about his wife, offering to help work out, and I'm like, well, no, I don't think that's a good idea. I appreciate the offer though. I'll be in the gym. I'll see you around. And I left that gym. I was crying about something, like just depressed, and I was crying, and the lady, people were comforting me and everything, but that day I said I'm never going back to that gym. Then people don't see me crying. You
Mhm.
know, and I don't. This guy know like my business know I'm in there because my husband calling me fat. I'm like I ain't never going back to that gym again. But a year and a half later, I ran into him at a training. We parked right beside each other at the same time in opposite directions, like just pulled up
Mhm.
and parked. And I'm looking at the guy like, if he don't close his door so I can open my door and get to this training, then I notice his face, but I don't say anything because I'm like, well, I just go to work. But he spoke and said, "You look familiar." I was like, "No, I just go to work, go home."
Mhm.
And I know, I think I seen you at the gym. I'm like, yeah, it was like a year ago. Yeah. He said, "Yeah, you the one with the mean husband."
Oh.
I was like, I said, I don't know if I should think that's cute that you remember me or if that's creepy that you remember me, but we we haven't been apart since
Wow.
that day. We were chit chatting and joking,
Uh-huh.
respectfully at first, because he was also married. But
Mhm.
at the time, when we met up again, he was like, he said, "So how are you and your husband?" I was like, "Well, I'm moving out next week, and I'll be filing for divorce, but I'm moving into my own apartment." And I asked him, he said, yeah, he's waiting on his divorce date in court was like a month later. So I was
Mhm.
like, wow, I'm sorry that happened, but I wish you the best. And
Right.
we walked in and still sat together, chit chatting here or there. Hung out a few times like to get food or just chit chat and everything. And he would come by, check on me and the kids when he was visiting people. He helped me move because he just happened to be there. Just always there when I needed somebody, but I never had a chance to ask. Just knew.
Right.
It was weird. It was like we were magnets, but still trying to keep it respectful and do the right thing. But that magnetic field was strong. It was strong. But when everything was taken care of and ended, then we decided to that we would be serious. Actually, before that, but we were just trying to get ourselves straight
Right. Right.
and
That's
do the
understandable.
right thing. And then yeah, we haven't been apart since.
That's a beautiful story. Let's get into your two chapters. The first one is what's your first chapter? It's about from darkness to light.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that chapter, and if you have something you want to share from that chapter, please feel free to do so.
I chose that title because I felt like I didn't talk to anyone until maybe two, three, about 2 or 3 years after
Hmm.
I left the marriage. I was just too busy. It was a lot going on. I left like May 2018. My grandmother passed like August 2018. Um, I still had my baby. Now my baby was 6 months old when I left, and we were having issues with my oldest, some behavioral health, and that was a lot. That was a lot on him. And then my mother wasn't feeling well. My health, the
Hmm.
divorce came, a baby came, postpartum depression, and like I didn't even have time to process a lot of the events that happened. It was like one thing before I could process one and go through one, another one would come. So everything was just really built up on top of everything. And when you get affiliated with the military, you kind of get trained to suppress things. They have a training for everyone, but it's a special spouse training. It's
Hmm.
like a resiliency something. And I know the idea is to make you unbreakable and to bounce back and to
Right.
help change such a perspective. But in a nutshell, it's telling you, reminding you that your husband's job is more important than you. Because
Right.
they'll tell you all the time, if they wanted you to have a spouse, they would have issued you one with your military gear. That's what they say.
Ouch. No
They
heart.
do. They do. They also tell them like, hey, you may not leave with the same spouse you came with, but you'll have your career. That's
Wow.
how they encourage them. But I was just felt in the dark for so long.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until I realized I didn't deserve to be there. And there's some people who don't get out of it. And like I never planned for suicide,
Hmm.
but I always thought, what if I wasn't here anymore? Why do I have to I just want to go under a rock and don't come back.
Mm.
I don't, but then I thought, well, dang, I have a family, I have kids, and I would always. My mom just came and she was visiting when they helped me out, and she's like, "You got the house so dark. You need some light. Let some light into your life. Let some light into your life." And I wrote down that title in 2019, and I would write my journal entries about how I would take something negative and turn it to a positive. Some days I didn't have a way to turn it into a positive, but other times I had some entries in there. And at the end of the year, I would always burn my journal to kind of release and let it go and then just start a fresh one. So that darkness into light was really like letting go of the negatives, bringing in the positives, and just letting people know that there is a such thing as going from darkness to light. Oh, did we lose? Did we lose Dana? Are we still going? I think we're still going. Let me see.
Sorry about that.
Okay. I know I'll be rambling. I'm
No,
trying to
you're
count my
fine.
entries.
My computer went out for a second, but I'm back. And I heard you say, and one of the questions I wanted to ask is, I was hearing your comments about being married to someone in the military, and the comments they were making to the husbands and to the military wives. Do you believe that there's a culture in the military world for it's okay to get a divorce and just be open to divorce, get married? It's all right if you get a divorce. Like, what do you think the culture is that it's been promoted when it comes to marriages?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think they tell the soldiers like they swing it from a perspective that it's okay because they're still going to be a soldier. Like their career comes first. That is the focus. This is your first job. I think from that perspective, they let them know it's okay because they're whether it's a soldier family experience, the soldier's always protected unless they acting a fool and doing something and about to get kicked out. The soldier's always protected.
Mm.
Because I was in a couple of spouse clubs, and as soon as they got wind that I was filing, oh, I was removed from emails, I was removed from text
Oh,
groups,
wow.
and I was disinvited to our little tea meetings. And I was like, well, this is supposed to be like a support group. We're not even divorced yet. It was two of us. They did that too. And then we also have they call it like a family readiness group. I wasn't in it, but I would help volunteer with certain events like with cooking and things like that. um, Anything I offered, it was just rejected. Then I found out, well, like, if you're not a spouse anymore, they kind of blacklist you. And I was like,
It's kind
you
of
know
like
what, that's fine. One
wives
less thing to
call
do.
wives, huh?
They do. It is. But on the other side, a lot of women do leave. I'm not going to say any of some of them are weak, but I think some of them going in, they don't realize what they're getting themselves into. They think they're still with their partner, but it's not just your partner. You're with your partner who is inside of a military soldier body. Like that's their armor. That's who they are and have to be all the time. They get broken down to a little bit of nothing and then built back up to be these human robots, so to speak. So I think it's a little bit of both. And it is a lot. Now there are some people who do wrong on both sides, just like in regular life. It is some spouses who get in it just for benefit. It was so many friends and just people who you leaving, you divorcing a soldier, you stupid. Girl, you crazy. All them benefits. I'm like, I have my own insurance. I said, I'm going to put up with this just for health insurance and to travel. I ain't going to be traveling in peace. And I'm going to be stuck at, what if I get to Germany? I would have been stuck out in Germany, probably arrested somewhere for domestic something in the house. But I
Mhm.
was like, if you really on the outside looking in, for somebody to leave, say a very handsome person, a very beautiful soldier woman,
Mhm.
who yes can give you free health insurance, who yes every few years travel to a different state or a different country,
Right.
and breaking up my family. I'm like, that's what happened. So it was something big that happened. It's not just, oh girl, you're gonna lose your benefits.
It's a
I
lot.
have a job, I have my own benefits, I'm not losing anything. I'm
Mhm.
not. I hate I'm breaking up my family. I do. But it wasn't just me that broke it up. It was both of us took part in
Yeah.
that.
But it seems
So
like you got a lot of fingers pointed to you.
yeah, yeah, I did. And it was easy. That was one of the last things he said. I remember him saying like, if you're not happy, there's the door, but just know you the one who left. And I
Mm,
was like, yeah, you're right. I'm doing both of us a favor. And so that definitely came to play. It was like, well, why did you leave? Why didn't you tell him? Why didn't you this? Why didn't you that? I was battling myself for 2 years
mhm,
with this, trying to take my emotions out of it. Like, Tanisha, is not about you being sad. Don't put extra stress on him. But the reality just kept hitting me in my face. Like, he told me, he showed me, and then he told me again. But I was just so in denial and so focused on my desire to be a wife and keep the family together, because that's what it was the previous 10 years before. So
yeah,
I was like, I'm not coming here and then gonna lose all of this. No, no, I'm not doing that. But it was a lost battle.
yeah, yeah. Let's go into your next chapter. The next chapter is basically talking about identity. Um,
Hmm.
let me get the chapter name. Make sure I say it right. It's chapter 10, which is learning your true identity. Tell us a little bit about that chapter.
When I decided to go to therapy, it was after I've helped so many of my friends. I was always the mediator, the shoulder to cry on, the referee, and my friends and family, they would always say, "You should be a counselor. You should be a therapist. You should this. You should that." And I was like, oh, "Okay, I'll send you a bill." I just make a joke about it because I'm just being a friend. I just have a good heart, and I'm an advocate by nature. It's just my personality type, just being an advocate. So I like fairness. I like justice. I like peace and stability. So when I wrote that, I thought about the steps that I needed to take that I was afraid of. And
Mhm.
then I thought even further about how when we start new things, again, going back to that foundation, when we start new things and how to build from the bottom up. And not the idea so for us to be perfect, but for us to be better than what we were. Because we're growing a little bit every day, but if we're in the same position, if we're in a position and we have complaints or just dislike ourselves in that moment, and then days later, months later, years later, we still doing the same stuff. There's some self reflection and evaluations that I got to go on. We can't just blame everybody for that. So I was really it was a lot of self reflection going on, and I thought about like when them soldiers do get broken down to
Yeah,
that little bit and then get built back up. How
yeah,
could I feel like I'm broken down to my bottom. How could I build myself back up? What do I need to work on? And a lot of that is what I put in there, what I know I needed to work on. And it was a lot of it was confirmed by through reading scriptures, reading my daily devotional, um,
yeah,
just talking to people. I have a few I just say spiritually gifted friends who would just come tell me certain things I needed to work on. I'm like, I ain't never talked to you about that, but it was something positive, and they were very positive and loving people. So I received it, and then working through with my church family or just some of my other family members and some friends, it was just some things like, what? Let me bring this down to in a bracket form and then explain each step of why each step is important, like mentally, physically, and spiritually.
yeah, yeah. That's beautiful. I'm often talking about the healing journey, and we know that it often takes more than one thing. It takes more than just going to therapy. It takes more than just prayer from family and friends. It's a collaboration of so many different things. And we know that it's not just a one and done, but we're constantly having to do things because we can go back to stage one quickly at a trigger.
Yes.
Somebody saying the wrong word to us, right? Somebody looking at us wrong, and we can be triggered so easily. It's important that
Definitely.
we constantly put the steps into place that we don't go back to that negative thinking like you talked about in your chapter. chapter 3, going to that dark place,
Mhm.
but being able to come out and stay out. And I'm so glad to see that you have stayed out of the darkness. It doesn't mean that life is just perfect all
Mhm.
around, but you have the tools, you have the resources that you need to say that you have turned your pain into power. How
Mhm.
do you feel like you've turned your pain into power?
I turned it into power by definitely releasing my fear. I didn't even realize how much fear and things I had, and I'm still working on that. I
Mhm.
A lot of self-sabotaging and overthinking, over-criticalizing, over-analyzing
Right.
goes on. I mean, the Virgo brain is very analytical anyway, but we that's still a piece of fear because it also it shows me that there's a lack of confidence in
Yeah.
certain areas. So that's something that I'm still working on. But that was the biggest piece for me. Like, why am I feeling this way? And like, I had to ask myself why with certain situations. That was another coping technique I learned as well. When I'm in my head and trying to figure things out, why is it important? And then ask myself why again. Then ask myself why again. About 5 times to get to the core of why that's an issue.
Yeah.
So
Your,
it definitely helped me turn my pain into power. I'm still helping other people, still talking to other people, encouraging other people just to be in that craft, whether it's my partner with his passion for acting. I'm trying to encourage him with music
okay.
too, but um, my oldest with computers and art. He
Hmm.
does great things with art, and a couple of my coworkers, and it's a beautiful thing just reaching out to people and helping them with something. I've recently been, I don't want to say flooded, but I don't know if it's this something I'm giving off, but people have been flocking to me. Not, I'm
Hmm.
humbly speaking, I appreciate it, but it's something they see in me
Right.
that makes us want to connect. And once we start talking, it's something where we can help each other.
Yes.
Like a little bit of give and take. And that's how I like my friendships to be. I really like it to be so won't nobody feel like they're over exerting themselves. Like again, trying to keep a little bit of balance, a little bit of fairness and whatnot. But it's been something where we can receive from each other
Mhm.
in the friendship.
Good. Any passage from either one of the chapters you want to share with the viewers, or you can either give one word of advice to someone who may be contemplating if they should get a divorce or not. What would your last saying be?
For anyone contemplating divorce, I think they should look at themselves. They need to look at themselves apart from their partner. They need to look at their partner and what's making them think about divorce.
Hmm.
And they look at themselves, what's making them think about divorce. And then in the outer circle of that, what's going to change, what's going to be affected, or what's going to be a benefit for it all.
Right.
Because sometimes I mean, it is frowned upon, but sometimes it's not worth it. People have lost their lives staying in a marriage. I mean, people get married and don't even like each other. I felt like that was my case. That the ex just grew to not like me anymore. I just wasn't what he wanted anymore. He got to travel, got a piece of life, saw other things that he liked, and I just wasn't of interest or value anymore. But I was a benefit as a dependent. We were benefits to him. He got extra things for having dependents. So people get married and they don't even like their partners, but it's a benefit sometimes. And so that's another thing we have to look at too. How much are we putting in when we're not receiving? So it's a lot of evaluation that has to go on. I think anyone thinking about divorce should do counseling separate
Hmm.
and together. If the partner is willing, definitely do it together, but also do it separate. It'll be things that come out that may not come out in person, but individually, it's more freedom of expression. It's
Right.
more analyzing that could be and realizations that could be done. Then when they come together, they can piece it together. If not, one person go to counsel, do it themselves, but I don't think it should be a quick decision. I think it should be evaluate it because the life will change.
Oh,
And divorces cost a lot of money because I was broke for a while, but we had what we needed, and it worked. I didn't want to I was a little prideful too. I didn't want to ask for help. I'm like, this was my bed. I'm laying in it. This is my decision. I'm dealing with it. I didn't want to ask for help. I didn't want to hear anyone's mouth. You went way out to another state and now look at you. And I was just worried of hearing people's mouth. The other piece would be just know that you will be okay. Like our current, what is it? Our current, what am I trying to say? Our current position is not our final destination. I know that's not the same, but on the lines of that, we're not going to be in that same place forever.
right, right,
We're not. And in order to see growth, we have to move forward. So it will be okay. You
right,
will survive that. Um, take any safety measures. If you know you're an abusive partner, try to get those restraining orders. Try to keep your locations a secret. Don't tell all your business. Just think of safety measures because things do get ugly with people. That they lose their lives. They lose more than they think they have, and it's really sad. It's really, 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 really sad.
I definitely agree. I think you touched on something as far as a lot of people get married for the wrong reasons. You talked about you being a benefit, like especially in the military, that's really big. With some people getting married just for them to get extra income on their checks or on their disability checks. But then also there's people who get married just for stability because they know you're going to provide the stability they need. Wow,
Mhm.
you mean there's no true love. And it doesn't mean that
Yeah.
you didn't go into the marriage with the right intentions and having that true love in your heart for that person, but that person can't love you the way that you desire to be married. I mean, to
Right.
be loved. And
Mhm.
so your wants and your needs are just as important as that other person's wants and needs. And so a
It
lot
is.
of times we sacrifice our happiness, as I hear you saying, Tanisha, you did, sacrificing happiness for someone else who don't even deserve your sacrifice.
Mhm.
Don't even
Yes.
deserve it. But thank you, Tanisha, for joining us. Just a disclaimer, the participants of this book, Life After Divorce, Turning Pain into Power, we are not advocating for divorce at all. We are not
Right.
bashing our spouses or ex-spouses at all in this book. But what we want to do is give people hope and encouragement, knowing that there is life after divorce. You don't have to walk with your head hanging low. You don't have to walk in shame or embarrassment or guilt, because that's how a lot of people wanted us to feel when we got divorced.
Mhm.
Like Tanisha said, people were pointing fingers like, did you do this? Did you do that? Well, you couldn't keep your man happy. Like, you'll be surprised at the things that we hear as women
Mhm.
who file for divorces and our marriage just didn't work. But
Mhm.
know that God wants greater for you. Know that God loves you, that He would never leave you in a miserable situation, that you are deserving of love, happiness, and everything that God has intended for you. And sometimes we got to break those ties to get to where God wants us to be. Because if Tanisha wouldn't have broke that tie, she wouldn't be with the man that God has blessed her to be with right now. So you got to ask yourself, what do you have to, or what do you need to divorce from? It might not be a relationship, but it
Mhm.
might be a job. It might be a friend. It might be a bad habit. And so we might all need to have a divorce
Mhm.
from trauma that's been weighing us down in life. But no matter what you're divorcing from, know that there is still life after divorce and that you can turn your pain into your power. And so, thank you again, Tanisha. Thank you all to our viewers out there. Remember, our book release is this Saturday at 11 a.m. at the Book Club on High Street, Portsmouth, Virginia. Join us, but also we will be having a bestsellers campaign on the following Monday, which is February the 6th, where you are going to be asked to join us as we're going to be going to tackle bestsellers. And so we look forward to overabundance of love, peace, and happiness to you all. God bless you and good night.
Night.